Hello everyone, I am Sanjana Santosh Nigarye. I am an assistant professor in the subject of mathematics from PSRSN College of Arts and Science. So my topic for the session is surds and indices. This topic is very simple if you know the proper definitions of surds and indices and if you know the laws. The main thing here is the simplification which is required to solve any problem on this in any competitive exams. So let me start with the session. Now, before going to the actual topic that is surds and indices and before solving the problems, let me do some preliminaries which are important to learn about the surds and indices. The first one here is what is a rational and what is an irrational number. So the definition of a rational number is a number which can be expressed as a fraction p upon q of two integers p and q where q is not equal to 0 is called a rational number. So if you have any number of such type or any number which can be written in this form p upon q where both this p and q are integers and necessarily q is in the denominator so it cannot be 0, then in that case the such a number is known as a rational number. So let me show you some examples. So for example, if you have a number 2 upon 3, here both are integers 2 and 3 and this is in fraction form, so this will be a rational number. Now 1.5, now this 1.5 is in the decimal form but still this can be written as 3 upon 2 which is a fractional form, or this implies that this number 1.5 is also a rational number. Now what about this number 2000? This number 2000 can also be written as 2000 upon 1. Again this comes in the form of fraction of two integers. So this is also a rational number. There are many examples. I have given only 3 here. Now if we have come to know what is a rational number, it is very easy to understand what is irrational. An irrational number is such a number which cannot be expressed in that form. That is, if it is not possible for you to express the number in such a form, then it is known as a irrational number. So for example, root 2, root 3, then the famous number pi, also the famous number e, all these are irrational numbers. Let me go to the second preliminary, which is nth root of a number. So if you have some y equal to x square, then we say that the square root of y is x and we write root of y equal to x. For example, the number 4 is 2 raised to 2, so it implies that the square root of 4 is 2. Now if you have y equal to x cube, that is x raised to 3, then we say that the cube root of y is x and we write it as this way, that is this is the cube root, so you'll write 3 here and y under the root sign. So for example, 343 is equal to 7 cube. This you can verify. If you multiply 7 3 times, you will get 343. So from here you can conclude that the cube root of 343 is equal to 7. Now similar to this, if you have y equal to x raised to 4, then you will say that the fourth root of y is x and we write instead of 3 here, now you will have 4 here. So this means the fourth root of y is equal to x. So for example, 625 is equal to 5 raised to 4. Even this you can verify yourself. If you multiply 5 4 times, that is 5 raised to 4, you will get the number 625. So from this expression you can conclude that the fourth root of the number 625 is 5. If you have in general y equal to x raised to n for any positive integer n, then we say that the nth root of y is x and you write n here and you write y under the root sign. So this was the preliminaries. Now I'll go to the definition. So now what is an index? It is a power or exponent of a number, or in other words, it says or it gives you how many times you should multiply a number in a multiplication. So I'll explain you by giving an example. So suppose you take a number 2 raised to 3. Now here this 2 will be known as the base and this 3 will be known as the index. So this tells you that the number 2 has to be multiplied 3 times, and this number 3 is also known as power or exponent of 2. Now take another example. So suppose instead of 2 raised to 3, if you have 3 raised to 2, then this 3 here will be base and this 2 will be index. Now this suggests that 3 has to be multiplied only 2 times. So once you have understood what is an index, let me go to the surd. So what is a surd? Let us look at the definition. So let a be a rational number and n be any positive integer such that the nth root of a, that is a raised to 1 by n, is irrational, then the nth root of a is called a surd of order n. In simpler words, you can say that it is an irrational number that can be written in roots. So let me take an example. So for example, root 2. Now number 2 is rational, but if you take the square root of 2, then it is no longer rational. It becomes irrational. So the square root of 2 is a surd. And what is the order? Since it is a square root, the order of this surd will be 2. Now look at the other example. Here number 3 is again rational, but if you take cube root of 3, then it becomes irrational. So this is a surd and the order will be 3. For the third example, this is the surd of order 4, since this is the fourth root of 5. Now can you think about an example where the nth root of a number is not a surd? So here I have given an example. So suppose you take root of 4. You can see that the number 4 is rational. If you take the square root of 4 also, then you get number 2, right? The square root of 4 is 2, which is also a rational number. So this will no longer be a surd. These were the definitions of index and surd. Okay, so now let me introduce you to some of the laws of indices and laws of surds. So these are not some difficult laws. So it's very easy to remember them. So the first law here says that a raised to m into a raised to n is nothing but a raised to m plus n. See, this a raised to m means you are multiplying a m times. So here a raised to n means you are multiplying a n times. So if you are multiplying a raised to m into a raised to n, it means that you are multiplying a m plus n times. So now the second law states that a raised to m upon a raised to n. Now this a raised to n is same as a raised to minus n. So this will be a raised to m into a raised to minus n, which is equal to a raised to m minus n. The next law says that a raised to m, the whole raised to n, is same as just multiplying m and n. That is a raised to m into n. The next one is a into b, the whole raised to n, is the same as a raised to n into b raised to n. Next one, a upon b whole raised to n is equal to a raised to n upon b raised to n. And the last one, most of us know that a raised to 0 is always equal to 1. So these were all the laws of indices. Now let me go to the laws of surds. So usually the nth root of any number a is written as a raised to 1 by n. Note that here we take n to be positive integer. Now the second law states that the nth root of a into b is nothing but nth root of a into nth root of b. Now this nth root of a is same as a raised to 1 by n, and nth root of b is equal to b raised to 1 by n. So this quantity simplifies to this. Now same way as the second law, you have the third law, which is the nth root of a upon b is same as the nth root of a upon the nth root of b. Now again the nth root of a can be written as a raised to 1 by n, and nth root of b can be written as b raised to 1 by n. Now the last law is the nth root of a whole raised to n is equal to a raised to 1 by n whole raised to n. So these are the laws of surds. I'll be using all of these laws to solve the problems or to simplify the problems so that you get a simplified value or simplified answer. So let me go to the first question. Simplify the following. The first question is 27 raised to 2 by 3, and the second one is 1024 raised to minus 4 by 5. What you have to do is you have to try to find the roots of the numbers given in the bracket. Now here you know that 27 is the cube of 3. So 27 is equal to 3 cube. So what I will do, in place of 27 I will write 3 raised to 3. So what you will get, 27 raised to 2 by 3 will be equal to 3 raised to 3 raised to 2 by 3. Now which law you will use here? This is 3 raised to 3 whole raised to 2 by 3. So this can be written as 3 raised to 3 into 2 by 3. Now these 3 and 3 will get cancelled, and what will remain is 3 raised to 2, which is equal to 9. So the value of this is 9, or the simplification of this term is 9. Now for the second one, like we have done here, 27 equal to 3 raised to 3. Similar way, you have to write this 1024, or you have to find the factorization of this number 1024. Now many of you are aware how to find the factorization, but for those who don't know or who have forgotten how to find the factorization, let me revise here. So write 1024 here. Now, for factorization, the first number you check whether it divides the given number is 2. Now, since this is an even number, it will be divisible by 2. So, I will divide the number by 2. Now, dividing this number 1024 by 2, you will get 5, 1, 2, right? Now, again, this will be divisible by 2, which will give you, write the 2 here, you will get 2, 5, 6. Again, this is an even number. So again, this number will be divisible by 2. So you will get 1, 2, 8. Now again, this number is divisible by 2. So now just proceed in this way till you get the required result. So 64. Okay, so you have to continue in this manner till you get the required. Now this one will give you 32. Okay, so you have to stop the factorization till you get a 1 over here. And how you can write this 1024? This 1024 is nothing but 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. How many times? This is, you can see this is 10 times. So this 1024 will be equal to 2 raised to 10. We have this 1024 equal to 2 raised to 10, right? Already we have seen the factorization. Now this 2 raised to 10 can be written as 2 raised to 2 whole raised to 5, since this 2 into 5 will give you 10. Now what is 2 raised to 2? It is 4 raised to 5. Now why I am doing like this is, since the power here is 5 and the value what is asked is also minus 4 upon 5, this 5 and this 5 will get cancelled. So I'll show you how it will work here. So 1024 raised to minus 4 upon 5. This term will be equal to, instead of this, I will write this 4 raised to 5. So you can see this will be equal to 4 raised to 5 into minus 4 upon 5. So this 5 and this 5 will get cancelled and you will get 4 raised to minus 4. And what is 4 raised to minus 4? It is same as 1 upon 4 raised to 4. So the simplification of this term is 1 upon 4 raised to 4. Now let me go to the second question. It says if 17 to the power 3.5 into 17 to the power x is equal to 17 to the power 8, then the value of x is what? So this is one of the very simple question. You have to find the value of x for which this equation holds true. So let me start. It's given that 17 raised to 3.5 into 17 raised to x is equal to 17 raised to 8. Now observe here that the basis in each of the terms is same and it is equal to 17. So by using the first law, which says that if you have the same base, then you can add up the powers. So this left hand side term is same as 17 raised to this power plus this power. That is, this term is same as 17 raised to 3.5 plus x, and this remains the same. Now if you have such a thing, again you can see that the base is equal, so you can just equate the powers. So you will get 3.5 plus x equal to 8. So this means x is equal to 8 minus 3.5, which gives x equal to 4.5. So for this question, the option D is correct. The question is, given that 10 raised to 0.48 is equal to x, 10 raised to 0.70 is equal to y, and x raised to z is equal to y square, then the value of z is close to what? Now just observe here that you are given the value of x and you are given the value of y. Also you are given the relation between the three. So you can very well find the value of z by using this relation. So by using the relation you get x raised to z is equal to y square. So now just substitute what is x and what is y. So x is equal to 10 raised to 0.48 and y is equal to 10 raised to 0.70. So this relation will be now 10 raised to 0.48 the whole raised to z equal to 10 raised to 0.70 whole square. Now 10 raised to 0.70 whole square means 10 raised to 0.70 into 10 raised to 0.70, which is nothing but adding these powers you will get this equal to 10 raised to 1.4. Now you have 10 raised to 0.48 z equal to 10 raised to 1.4. Now you can see the base are the same. For both the terms the base is 10. So you can just equate the powers. So 0.48 into z will be equal to 1.4. So now you can find z. What will be z? Z will be 1.4 divided by 0.48 and which is nothing but 2.91666. Now you are not asked actual value of z, but you are asked the value of z which is close to one of the options. So here z is equal to 2.9166. So the z is close to 2.9. So the option which is correct here is option C. Now let me go to a different kind of a problem. So the problem is find the value of this quantity. Now this quantity here looks to be very much complicated and you may get scared how to solve this or how to get the value of this. But don't worry, this is very simple. It is just simplifying and just manipulation, and you will get the actual value of this quantity and you will see that it is not complicated. Okay, so let me start with the solution. So I will simplify this term as, you know that 8 is the cube of 2 and 27 is the cube of 3. So just substitute that over here. So in place of 8 you write 2 cube and in place of 27 you write 3 cube. This I have done so that you can simplify. You can just observe here 2 raised to 3 and this 1 by 3. If you simplify, it will be 2 raised to 3 into 1 by 3. Same way over here, this is 3 raised to 3 whole raised to 1 by 3. So this will be 3 raised to 3 into 1 by 3. Now these 3 will get cancelled. Same way here 3 will get cancelled and you will get 2 raised to 1 plus 3 raised to 1, which is same as 5 into 2 plus 3 whole raised to 1 by 2. Now this one will be 5 into 5, which is 5 square whole raised to half. Now 5 square whole raised to half. Again you will use the other law of indices. So by using the law, it will be 5 raised to 2 into 1 by 2. And again these 2 will get cancelled and you will get a single 5. So you can see here that this complicated looking quantity is just a simple number equal to 5. So for this question, option A is correct. So here what is important is you know the laws of indices and you know how to apply them properly. Going to the next question. So the next question is, which is larger among these two quantities? The quantities are root 2 and cube root of 3. So by looking just looking at these quantities, you may not be able to tell which is larger. So there is a method to do so. What you have to do is look at the order. So what is the order? This is the cube root. So here this quantity is of order 3. Now here this is the square root of 2. So the order of this quantity is 2. Now for example, suppose you had fourth root of say 4. Then the order of that term would have been 4. So in this case, the given surds are of order 2 and 3, and what you have to do is find the LCM of the two orders. Now here the orders are 2 and 3 and the LCM, that is the least common multiple of 2 and 3 is equal to 6. So the method here is you have to convert these both quantities into some surds of order 6. That is, you have to convert this root 2 into some quantity raised to 1 by 6. Same way you have to convert this term into some quantity raised to 1 by 6, and then you will be able to compare between them. Remember that you have to first find the LCM and then convert into that particular order. So I will do both the terms simultaneously. So here you can write this root 2 as 2 raised to 1 by 2, and you can write this cube root of 3 as 3 raised to 1 by 3. Now I want this term to be raised to 1 by 6. Already you have raised to 1 by 2. So what I want is one more 3 in the denominator. So how I'll do it? I will multiply and divide here by 3. Same way here I have 1 by 3. That is 3 raised to 1 by 3 I have, but I want some quantity raised to 1 by 6. So for that I want a 2 here. That is, what I will do is I will adjust these 3 so that the denominator becomes 6, and here I will adjust the 2 so that the denominator becomes again 6. Note that if you are introducing an extra term, you have to, suppose you are dividing by 3, then you have to multiply by 3 because this is an extra term. Again here, if you are dividing by an extra 2, you have to multiply by 2. Now this quantity will be this will be 3 upon 6. So this will be 2 raised to 3 upon 6. And over here, this will be 3 raised to, this is 2 by 6. So this will be 3 raised to 2 by 6. But I have got to the quantities. This quantity is raised to 3 by 6. This quantity is raised to 2 by 6. But what I want the order has to be 6 or the quantity raised to 1 by 6. So what I will do is this can be written as 2 raised to 3 whole raised to 1 by 6, because this 2 raised to 3 whole raised to 1 by 6 is same as 2 raised to 3 into 1 by 6, and 3 into 1 by 6 is same as 3 upon 6. Same way here, what I will do is I will take this 2 inside. That is, I will write this quantity as 3 raised to 2 whole raised to 1 by 6. Now you can compare, because this will be simplified to, what is 2 raised to 3? 8. So this will be 8 raised to 1 by 6. This can be written same as root of 8. That is 6th root of 8. And here this will be 3 square, which is 9. So 9 raised to 1 by 6 can be written like this. So now you can compare. So which one will be larger? You can directly conclude over here that since 9 is greater than 8, the 6th root of 9 will be greater than 6th root of 8. So the cube root of 3 will be greater than square root of 2. So for this question, which is larger among these? The answer is cube root of 3. So the answer for this question is option B. Again, this is a problem of finding the value of a quantity, and you may think that this quantity contains the variable n over here, so it may be quite difficult. But again, like I have done a previous problem, this is also similar one. What you have to do is just use the laws of indices and try to get the simplified value. So I will just start. So now you have to simplify this number 243, like I have done for the number 1024 using factorization. Here also you have to factorize this number 243 and get the factorization. So after this, you can try it yourself. You will get that 243 is nothing but 3 raised to 5, and this 9 will be 3 square. So why I am doing like this is, here you can see that this is base 3, here also the base is 3. So I will try to get base 3 over here. So this term will be now simplified to this. Now over here you have 3 raised to 5 whole raised to n upon 5, which will be 3 raised to 5 into n upon 5, and this will remain as it is. This will be 3 raised to 2 into n into this will remain as it is. So now this term will be 3 raised to n into 3 raised to 2n plus 5. Why n is 5 into n plus n upon 5, so 5 will get cancelled and only n will remain, and this will be 2 into n, so you'll get 2n. Now how to simplify this? Again the bases are the same, so you can just add the power. So this will be n plus 2n plus 1, and this will be 2n plus n minus 1. So this will be 3 raised to n plus 2n plus 1, 3 raised to 2n plus n minus 1, and this is nothing but 3 raised to 3n plus 1, and this is 3n minus 1. Now use the law of indices. So this will be 3 raised to 3n plus 1 minus 3n minus 1. So over here this 3n and 3n will get cancelled, and this 1 minus of 1 will be 1 plus 1. So this will be 3 raised to 2, which is equal to 9. So you can see that although there was a variable n over here, this full quantity has reduced to a simpler number, which is equal to 9. Now coming to the end of this session, I will do a different method how to find the value of such a quantity. What you have to do is you have to look at the least number here. You can just observe here you have 2 raised to 1 by 4, 2 raised to 3 by 4, 2 raised to 1 by 2, and 2 raised to again 1 by 4. So this is the square root of 2, this is the fourth root of 2, and this is like the fourth root of 2 whole raised to 3. So clearly among these three terms, which is the least? The fourth root of 2 will be the least. So what you have to do is you have to put this number 2 raised to 1 by 4 as some variable. I have denoted that number as x, so that you will be simplifying this quantity. This is only to simplify, and so that there is no confusion between the given numbers. So what will happen? This quantity will be now this number 3 raised to 4 can be written as 1 upon 4 into 3. This 2 raised to 1 by 2 is same as 1 upon 4 into 3, right? 1 by 4 into 2 is what? This 2 and 4 will get cancelled, and you will get 1 by 2 over here, which is same as 2 raised to 1 by 2. Now why I am doing like this? Because 2 raised to 1 by 4 I have written as x. So I'll be able to write each and every term in terms of x. So this term will be x minus 1. This is this term raised to 3. So which is nothing but x cube. This is nothing but this raised to 2, which is same as x square, and this is x. Now this will be simplified as this. Now how I have done this? You can see that over here you have x cube and x square. So what is common over here? X square. While taking common, see that you take the least power over here. You have x cube, here you have x square. So the common term will be x square. And here nothing is common except number 1. So this I will keep as it is. Now you can simplify it as, again here you have x plus 1, and again you have here x plus 1. So this can be written as this x square plus 1 into x plus 1. Now what will happen here? I will be using a identity. What is the identity? This x minus 1 into x plus 1 is same as x square minus 1. Okay, I'll just show you which identity I am using. So you have the identity that a square minus b square is same as a plus b into a minus b. And this identity is true for any real number. Okay, so here in place of a you have x, and in place of b you have 1, that is x plus 1 into x minus 1, right? So what will be this? X square minus 1 square, which is equal to x square minus 1. So this will be x square minus 1 into x square plus 1. Again you'll have to use this identity. What will be a over here? You have x square plus 1. So a will be x square and b will be 1. So this quantity will be now x square whole square minus 1 square, which is same as x raised to 4 minus 1. So now you have got the most simplified value of this quantity, right? Now just substitute the value of x over here. So what is x? You have substituted x to be 2 raised to 1 by 4. So this will be 2 raised to 1 by 4 whole raised to 4 minus 1. Now what will be this? This will be 2 raised to 1 by 4 into 4. Now 4 will get cancelled and you will have this to be equal to 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. So the value of this quantity is 1, which is the option C. So you can see that, or if you use the method of substitution in finding any value of a quantity, then you can find the value very easily. So this was the end of this session. I have tried to solve all the different examples by using different methods over here. The most important key to solve these problems is just practicing. So you have to practice the different problems what you get, and you can crack any questions on this in any competitive exams. Hope you have enjoyed the session. Thank you.